I can't trust these bitches, I know they gon' pick and choose. No, I can't trust these bitches, I know they gon' pick and choose. I fell in love with these streets, I seen 100,000. Nothing fucking bad bitches, I was running wild. I just pray about.
So this is the original dove for the logo. My kid drew that. So I love that they did it. My kid Frankie is 13. They're quite a talented artist. And then we started out with this is the original, and then this is what the New Orleans Art Collective came up with. And hang on just a second and I'll show you what somebody else has done. Gigi made this. So it's kind of everywhere. I'm really proud of it. I'm really happy with it.
Bayou Action Street Health was founded to provide medical assistance for local homeless communities in protests. When Hurricane Harvey hit Houston, BASH founder Deborah Lee reacted to the failure of the Red Cross's aid efforts by helping in whatever way she could.
Oftentimes the first thing that happens after a disaster is people go through and clean out their closets, or they donate all the clothes that they've been holding on to for the time that they were going to donate. So we've been sorting clothes. There's some toys that were potentially useful. They just need to be really well cleaned before they can be handed out. We've been doing mold remediation. That's what the sprayer is for. And then over here, canned food, cleaning supplies, crackers, dog food. There's toilet paper, baby wipes, more dog food, dogs. These are MREs. All right, so these are the civilian MREs, which have chili mac, Vienna sausages, cookies and chips, and a Rice Krispie treat, 3 fruit cups, a handy wipe, Pop-Tarts, raisins, those are good for iron and blood sugar, cinnamon graham crackers, and that is from Serve the People, and this is from the Red Cross. That's terrible.
I mean, they were like sitting there for a good like hour and a half.
The box is better than that.
But those are carrots.
The box is better than that.
I was volunteering at Food Not Bombs at the time, and I'd been doing home health, and I was familiar with going from place to place and situation to situation, but I wanted to be able to provide better care for the homeless folks that were coming out to eat. And then the night that the fella showed up and said, "Hey, can I talk to you a minute?" And we stepped behind my car, and he pulled up his shirt and he said, "I got shot. Can you help me with that?"
Oh God! I'm bleeding out a little bit.
He hadn't been shot there. He'd gone to the hospital, and he made the mistake of, and it was an innocent mistake, he couldn't walk much further from the train that he'd taken from the campsite. Somebody had tried to steal his bag. He fought for the bag. The guy shot him and winged him. It wasn't a deep wound, but he'd still been shot.
Yeah.
He'd gone to a not-for-profit hospital, not a charity hospital. So he sat on a stretcher in the hallway for about 10 hours before anybody bothered to come and see him. They gave him a prescription for narcotic pain medicine, and a nurse taped dry gauze over the wound and told him to leave. And they dumped him out at like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. So I did what I could for it for a couple of days, and it became clear that it was infected, and I ended up taking him to the county hospital and staying with him in the ER. There's a thing called accompaniment, where you accompany people who need care. I like to put the Band-Aids on the wounds that later fall off, or just basically, I'm a nurse at heart, so doing the work that I was taught to do and is part of who I am gives me.
Speaking of which, should this swelling up that bad?
No, it should not. Did you bang it? What did you do?
Just that cut.
Did you cut it back open again?
I don't think so.
That doesn't look good. Let's wash that with soap and water. Sorry.
Yeah, I did that a minute ago, and there's white pus.
There was. Okay, so it's got an abscess, so you need to go ahead and rinse that off. That needs to be looked at. It's probably got a staph infection.
Okay, that's okay. I can make it to the house, I think.
Well, it doesn't have to be looked at right this minute.
Right.
That's an animal bite?
No, it's a scratch.
Who did that?
A cat.
Oh, honey, you need to get that looked at
Okay.
today. That could be cat scratch fever, and that's a bad infection. That's not just going to be staph. Yeah.
I didn't know cats gave fevers.
All right, so that's a cat scratch. Yeah, and we're not going to play with a cat scratch. Yeah, it is a tiny little thing, and sometimes a tiny little thing can end up being your entire hand.
I don't like that.
Okay. All right, my nosy personal mom thing. Do you have money for an urgent care? Okay, I do. Okay, let's go find you an urgent care.
Hi, how can I help you guys?
My understanding is that in the Georgia Brown Red Cross shelter, it was divided into dorms, and the police who enforced all the Red Cross rules were often heard to refer to the dorms as cell blocks. They put 800 people in a warehouse that's not meant to house people. We got to look inside, and it was just bed after, and not a bed, cot, just cot after cot after cot after cot. The curfew at George R. Brown was midnight, and so people the first couple of nights that the new shelter was open were showing up at 10:30 and 11:30, thinking they had plenty of time to get into the shelter, and finding out the curfew had been changed to 10 p.m. So the first night the new shelter was open, they locked out 20 people, including a 9-month-old and a 14-month-old. So we stood there and argued and filmed. Everyone was allowed in that night, except for one young man who had a beer in his hand. He was not intoxicated by any stretch of the imagination, but he was upset and he was hurting, and he was telling people, look, I've been here, my dog is inside. My dog's been inside for 4 hours without me. They won't let me go inside because they say I'm late. I was 5 minutes late. They won't let me in. And a volunteer came out to talk to people. She got aggressive with some of us when she realized we were filming. And we were threatened with arrest if we didn't stop filming. So the Red Cross volunteer is talking to the police, who are then talking to the people, and she's telling them, look, if you all just calm down, and calm down, calm down. When you say calm down to agitated folks, it doesn't work. But they're all doing their best. And this young man is saying, look, this is what's going on, and I'm not happy about it. And one of our medics overheard her say to the cop, I don't want him inside. So we asked the cops, what's he being arrested for? And 4 of them put their arms up like this and shrugged their shoulders and walked back inside without answering. And one of them finally turns around and says, he's not being arrested, he's going to the sobering center. If you're in the Red Cross shelter and you were escorted from the property by the police for any reason, they remove your armband and you are no longer allowed back in the shelter. It was her way of getting rid of him. So what happened to his dog? I have no idea. The dog probably went to a shelter. But, you know, how much longer can the Red Cross continue with people now seeing and having firsthand experience at this point with the stuff that they pulled after Katrina and during the wildfires and in Haiti and with the blood donations? The Red Cross has a terrible reputation. Just the little bits that you do every day, eventually it all adds up, because you do your little bit without even knowing that somebody over here is doing a little bit, and a little bit very quickly becomes a lot.
Honestly, what would we ever do without the Red Cross? Well, we couldn't do without the Red Cross. That's why it's wise to give to the Red Cross. And why is it wise? Well, because they need the money.